How we doing?
Good.
So did you pack a cigar in your bag? Like, did you have that ready to go?
No, I had to borrow that from one of the guys. I did not have one with me. I was just trying to remember my computer and all the other important parts. The guys think ahead for stuff like that.
When did you find out that Michael's touchdown became a run, not a passing touchdown?
After the game, super bummed. I told him on the field, I said I'd never had a quarterback that threw one, ran one, and caught one, so I was super fired up, and then somebody broke the news to me. It was a bummer.
How did Jack Westover come out of the game? It looked like he took a pretty good hit.
Yeah, he got a concussion. Yep, so he's in concussion protocol right now. He took a shot to the head, and yeah, but he's doing great, and he's feeling better already. He'll be fine.
Did you see targeting on that play? Honestly?
Next question. It did look like to me, I mean, the refs got to make the calls they got to make, but I felt like there was a pretty good chance that was targeting.
Coach, I know it's a double-edged sword, but as good a year as you had, your name is coming up in the coaching carousel, rumors and stuff. How are you dealing with that right now?
Well, I think you got to take the same advice you're giving your quarterback, right? And just, you got to put that stuff aside and do your job and focus on what's in front of you. And I think that's served Mike obviously really well. He's done such a good job with that of, leaving that stuff by the wayside. And I'm super happy at Washington. I told my guys that, and, couldn't be more fired up to keep leading this team.
Is that a goal of yours someday to be a head coach in college?
Yeah, it is. Yep.
How have you talked with Kalen about that? Because you guys' relationship is pretty tight, knowing when to leave for the right job. How do you guys manage?
Oh, that's a good question. It's actually, for me, I'm in a really good spot with that. Just that I don't have to beat around the bush or anything like that, because ultimately Kalen will want, what's best for me in my career. And, he wants me to get to have all those experiences as a head coach someday, and for me to be able to talk to him and use him as a mentor in those situations, because that's what you really want, is if and when those days come, is that it's for the right job.
You had 700 yards of offense. How many of the plays that Mike ran were the plays that you called in, and how many did he check into, and what was it that got you to that many yards? And you guys looked unstoppable.
Yeah, we had, it was one of those games going in that you were, anxious is not the right word, but, before the game in the locker room, I was talking to Shep and Nick and Huff and Lee, and I just said, man, I feel like we're going to go off. I was very confident in the game plan that we had, but at the same time had a ton of respect for their defense, because we knew to execute some of those was going to have to, we're going to have to do it at a really high level. And so it was, we just felt really good about the game plan we had, and the guys played confident, which is, I thought, maybe the biggest part was just their confidence that they had in how they were operating, and that was, for me, when you saw them operating in practice during the week, and every time you ran a play, it got a little bit better, was exciting. And then most of the checks just came from me, just looking to play for Mike and getting him into the best look we could. I think he had two pretty good throws that he checked into himself on a protection. They did a really nice job with.
Ryan, I can't remember that many. Excuse me. Go ahead. I can't remember that many long balls being thrown by a Washington quarterback. Was that part of the game plan, or was that just something Michael saw?
No, that was definitely part of the game plan. We felt like if they were going to play aggressive, so were we. And if they were going to try to cover guys one-on-one, that felt a lot of confidence, and a lot of faith in the offensive line to protect, even under some duress, and be able to get the ball down the field. And shoot, there was 2 or 3 in the first half that we had, a shot to come down with as well that we just missed on. And so I told the guys that at halftime, we're going to keep firing. And if we keep getting the looks that we anticipated, the ball will keep going down the field, and it did. And obviously, right out of halftime, got a great look for a deep shot and hit that one as well.
Ryan, I'm going to misquote you, so just to go back to what you said, so you thought before the game that you guys would go off on the Cougar defense?
We did.
Well, what specifically about their scheme kind of led you to believe that you could do that?
Again, I just felt like if we were going to get some aggressive looks, that we would be able to stay aggressive, and we felt confident in again, some of the protection schemes that we had, and then obviously just get a guy like Mike that is a really good deep ball thrower, and if you guys saw him in practice, you'd see that the number of times and the percentage of hits that he has in a week on deep balls is impressive, just as far as the completion percentage. So yeah, we felt really good about it, and it was one of those things. Even Chuck was saying, up in the staff meeting earlier today, he was like, yeah, you guys were quiet all week. You didn't normally, you'd kind of say something. I was like, well, I felt good, but you just want to be quiet and see what happens, and we did.
Ryan, I'm curious, you guys have obviously had so much success with Mike coming out of the portal this year, and that is available to so many programs where you can get those guys and continue to have success. Do you feel like that's sustainable to do something like that for a program long-term, to keep on picking up those guys, or do you still need the lifeblood of your QB recruiting to be those 3-4 year high school guys?
I think you always want to develop guys in your system. I mean, ideally, in some extent, Mike could make the case that he was developed in the system, and that's something that I think is important, is that he did have, at least a baseline understanding of what Coach DeBoer did with him in 19, and then, coming in here now. So I think there's a piece to that gave us the confidence that Mike was going to be, an elite quarterback in the system. And so I think you'd love to keep it in any position group where you can develop guys and they really get all the small details of being a great player. At the same time, I think everybody has to be realistic that, it's competitive and we want to make the roster the best that we can. And I know we'll stay aggressive, and if we have to make a move, we will.
Mike kind of started a little slow in the game, kind of felt like he was missing some guys. Did you see that too, and what do you kind of attribute that to?
I think there was one that he potentially missed on, but I think again they were back there a little bit early on and playing aggressive with some pressure looks, and I think once we got him settled down on that and felt a little more clean on a few of the protection looks that I needed to get him into, then I thought that settled him down quickly, and he was able to take advantage of that.
Ryan, I know Mike's a pretty understated guy and deflects a lot of attention. As his offensive coordinator, could you make a case for why he should be in consideration for the Heisman Trophy?
Well, I think beyond the statistical, evidence that Mike has had as a quarterback, I think anytime you look at big-time players, you want to look at what they're doing at the end of the year, how much they've progressed, and that they've been able to win big games. And for Mike, not only has he done that, but he's done it on the road, and even take the Oregon State game, right? I mean, that is not a game any quarterback in the country would want to throw the ball, and that's exactly what we had to have him do. He goes 97 yards or whatever it was, and wins the game for us. And there's wins, I don't even know what the wind was that night, but it wasn't great for throwing the ball. And so you look at games like that, winning in Eugene, winning the Apple Cup last night, when we're for a little bit there, we were in a shootout. And so for me, I think when guys can shine like that on the biggest stage at the toughest moments and make the most critical plays, and have responses too. Like Mike, it wasn't always perfect in those 3 games in particular, but Mike's response was elite, and the way he, drove the team to a win in all 3 of those football games, I think shows that he's one of the best in the country.
And Kalen obviously came from an offensive background. I'm curious how influential he is with you when you guys are, coming up with the game plan, plays to call it. Is his voice heard a lot, or is it mainly give you autonomy on that?
We have a great understanding and work together great. I think that what I'm really blessed to have, I've always described it as Kalen's just a great sounding board. He doesn't have the luxury of, sitting in a staff room watching film all day like I do. So for me, putting the game plan together, without him isn't necessarily a hindrance on being able to just talk to him. Hey, I need a little bit more on red zone 20 to 14. What do you think about the calls I have? So, I try to utilize Kalen the best I can and be efficient just as a sounding board. It's not really that he's in there game planning the whole time with us, but he certainly does provide good answers when needed.
Right. I remember you saying right when you got this job, one of the first press conferences before the spring, that you thought that the O-line was a group that could do what you needed them to do, an immediate strength. And that was a group that the perception was really underperformed last season. What was it that you saw immediately that you thought, okay, we can work with this, and has that group outperformed what you expected?
That's a good question. A good memory. They've done a great job, and I think maybe in some regards, maybe even better than we could have thought. But I thought that their size and athleticism, after watching them on film, thinking about what we would do with them in this system, and just being able to have guys that when you need to gear down and run the ball, that they could do that, but also be elite pass protectors in this offense. I certainly saw that, and that was something that I felt like with some of our schemes and how we protect, that they'd be able to do a great job with that.
Brian, you mentioned a couple of minutes ago some of the little things with Mike that he's improved on. When you looked at that 19 film and then now that you've seen him progress through this year, what are those things where he took real exponential jumps in this offense to have the success that he's had?
Well, I think it starts with discipline. I think with any quarterback, having the discipline to stay within their progressions. And I think that's where you see Mike have a lot of speed through his progressions, where he can get to his second and third and fourth option quickly, is that preparation piece for Mike, that he doesn't have to force the ball, that we can get back to that throw another way. And I think that that's where, as a younger quarterback, probably that is stressful for any guy at that age. And, for Mike to just have the discipline to realize, oh yeah, you know what, we have this 5 or 6 ways in the game plan. I know coach will get to this and call it another way to attack that same area or that same person on the defense. And so for Mike, his discipline to stay with that and understand that he knows that we'll get to it. I think that it always starts there to me. I think there's small things with Mike's footwork and his posture in the back of the pocket has really improved. He's always had a quick release, but I think that, you can utilize that even more when you're a little bit more balanced. And so for Mike, I think all those things, his vision, I thought particularly has improved. He's not letting his eyes get all over the place, and again, that always comes back to just being disciplined within each play and knowing when you watch Mike, the simple part of it is that he knows where to get his eyes early, and he knows at the end of the play where to get the ball to and who to attack. And, for Mike, he sees the whole field. It's one of the biggest strengths of him as an elite player in this country, is that I think he sees the entire field as good as any quarterback in the country.
Ryan, you mentioned during the Oregon game, the call after the pick he threw, how that's not what you do. It's not what he's supposed to do. And then he throws the pick again in the end zone. Next drive, 5 plays, touchdown. Talk about that phone call that you had after that pick and his reaction to it. Yeah,
same. So you know better than that, and you know where that ball's supposed to go and not supposed to go, and you don't have to win it on every throw. And for Mike, that was a short conversation and, remind him, hey, I'm staying aggressive. That play is over for me, and it should be for you too. And he's like, yep, I got you, coach. Don't worry about it. It's over. And that's what great quarterbacks can do, is play in the present, correct what they've done within the course of a game and make the next big throw. And Mike's really elite at that.
And then Wazoo came in, Mike asked about the line, with 74 TFLs, 30 sacks, and they didn't have any in the game on Saturday. What is that? Does that resonate with you a little bit?
Yeah, it was a great night. That was a great night. And just being able to make some big run hits too, and keep them off balance. I thought that, our pass game was hitting high percentage and the ball was going down the field. And so to be able to get those run hits at the right time, I thought was critical. And the O-line, they do such a good job of not getting caught up, because sometimes for offensive lines, when you're just pass protecting, the speed of the defensive line, running up the field can get to be a lot. And those guys don't complain. They don't worry about that. When are you going to call a run? They come off the ball and perform. So I think there's a mental edge to those guys, and how they're playing right now is really high.
Mike said a little while ago he intends to play in the bowl game regardless of his his NFL decision. Was that something, did you ask him for a commitment on that one way or
No.
another? Did it never come up?
No, never came up. Not surprised at all. I mean, Mike's a competitor, and he's the ultimate teammate. I would have been. Didn't even feel like that was a discussion needed to have. Honestly, that doesn't surprise me with Mike. So I think he's excited. This would be the first bowl game he's ever played in. So he's fired up about that opportunity.
On the O-line note, I think there were a lot of fans last season that weren't very happy about Scott Huff being retained after last year. To have the season that group has had, how big has he been in that, and what has he done to really maximize those?
Oh, he's been huge. I mean, there was a lot of evidence on why to keep a great coach like Coach Huff, and that's not a industry norm, right? You come in, take over a program, and you keep a guy, and especially at such a pivotal role, but meeting with Coach Huff and watching his film, I broke down their film from the previous 3 years and seeing how the O-line performed, to me, 21 was an anomaly, and it wasn't the norm, and to see the number of really elite, high-level offensive linemen that have come out of this program that both Scott developed and recruited, it spoke volumes to the type of room that he could run. And so I think he deserves a ton of credit. I think he did a phenomenal job, and I'm just really excited for him because I know what it feels like to be in that seat, and when you have to perform, and especially he does a great job not worrying about how many pass plays we're calling, how many run plays, just play the play.
Right
Is there a particular part of the offense after the regular season's done now that you take a personal amount of pride in what you've been able to do?
Well, I think for anybody that coaches, I think it always starts in your room, So for me, I, naturally take the most pride in Mike, and his development, and probably more importantly, the room's development, because I do think every quarterback in that room is improved. And, I think it always starts there for a position coach, just to feel really good about what your contribution is to the team from within your room.
And what about the design of the offense or the play calling, or is there one that sticks out to you, or is there just any part of that?
I think it's more. When I think about the offense and the guys and how they've done this year, I just think about how far we've been able to take it in year one, and that was my message early on to the guys is we'll be as creative and have as much, width in the offense as they'll allow to have. And they've always taken that challenge really well. And, we've been able to continue to build and add on and change throughout the course of the season. And, I had a discussion with Taj Davis the other day coming off the practice field. And what I thought was exciting was that these guys, their mindset and their edge that they've had all season, they had that in fall camp. And so there was no proof of wins or 500 yards of offense or anything like that. There was just a staunch belief by the guys that we were going to be that. And they've done a good job of just staying really enlisted in the whole scheme and the belief of what we could get done here. So it's been pretty fun that way.
You've been transparent about wanting to be a head coach one day. I know it's not the priority right now at all, but that's obviously a position that goes way beyond schematics and game planning. Watching Kalen over the years, what have you learned about what goes on beyond between the lines stuff, and what do you think the biggest challenges are?
Kalen's a lead at building relationships, and I think that's what, at the end of the day, every assistant coach and every player wants is somebody that's going to, value your relationship and value your piece and, being part of the team. And, I think that's where people end up performing at really high levels is when they feel like they have value and they can add something to the team and to the program. And he's always done a good job of that. I also thought that he's been consistent. I've said that more than one time. And I think, for anybody that's a player, assistant coach, you just want to show up every day and know you're going to have the same guy there, and that he's going to operate at a really high level and treat people the right way and motivate them to be their best.
Don't you think, though, that head coaches are more CEOs than actual coaches? And is that really what you want?
There's definitely a piece that, and I've told Jen this, and I've told Kalen this, that, I have a deep passion for calling plays. And, for me, I do. I have a desire to be the best coordinator in the country. Like, that's a deep-seated belief in who I am and what I want to be. So there's definitely a path that I'm on with that right now.
What was the reaction in the box when Wayne scored the dagger there at the end?
That was a big fist pump. That was. We knew, I thought there was a really good chance we'd have him in man coverage and, got him on a fly sweep fake and a swipe cut back and hit it pretty clean.
Brian, I know that when you guys got here, you had to hit the road running, and I know that there were like 5 coaches living in a house at one time. Real estate market's going crazy, moving your family. Can you just kind of describe in a nutshell what this year has been like?
Yeah, it's, the rain came back out here the last couple of days, so there was some, just some memories, a little cooler out, the rain hitting, and, just coming back into the office even today. I took my daughter to school and kind of just looked around. My wife wasn't here at that time, and just reflecting on everything that's happened. And my initial emotional response to being here was that this place could be unbelievably special, not knowing really anything about Washington, and now, going through a full year of it and seeing the support of the community and the kids that are in this program. It's just, this place is incredibly special. So excited to be here.
Have you been, you're confident in what you do and you've had some talented pieces to work with, but are you still a little surprised at how successful it's been? Because I've watched this program for a long time and you've had like an off quarter here, off quarter there, and that's been it. You've pretty much had your way with offense with 12 different football teams, and it's kind of stunning to me. Are you surprised by that at all?
You never want to be surprised. I think the top end of what you believe the product can be. And I just, over the years, the last 5 years, coaching on the West Coast and seeing Pac-12 teams on film consistently, and then getting here and having a chance to evaluate the kids that were, in this program, knowing that we had to add a few pieces. I felt pretty strongly that we were going to have enough good pieces that we'd be able to compete with and beat anybody in the pack.
Just one more.
Yep.
After watching all the film, what was the one play that maybe put the biggest smile on your face?
The throwback touchdown to Mike for sure, because he always say I'm not going to call something where he has to touch the ball and go. So that one put a huge smile on my face, because the guys, the level of detail and the execution on that play was incredibly high. So, and there was virtually every player on the offense had to do exactly what they were supposed to. So that was a fun one.
Have you hesitated to call something with him running just because you want to keep him healthy?
Of course. Of course, you got to wait for that exact right time where there's a good chance he's not going to get hit.
Thanks,
We're
Ryan.
good. You bet. Thank you.
Coach Moss, you ready to go?
You forgot your gold jacket.
Morning.
6 points in the second half. What was the conversation like at halftime that kind of led to?
Well, I did, just getting guys to settle down a little bit. Obviously, a huge amount of hype going into the game, and guys were maxing out. Guys gave max effort the entire time, but it's just the extent of the discipline at times, especially when you look at a quarterback that drops back 55 plus times in a game, and his elusive capabilities just kind of reminds you of growing up as a kid, the first time you get a Nerf ball and go get your buddies together for some backyard football, and that's what a lot of those plays had turned into. And so just getting guys into a little bit better rhythm and making a few adjustments.
There was a call late in the fourth quarter, unsportsmanlike conduct, jamming the signal or delay a game. Did you get an explanation of what exactly that was?
Yeah, I'm not 100%. Obviously there's some sentiment that we were attempting to simulate the offensive signal for the ball to be snapped, which we strongly would disagree with. So.
Braylon Trice only had the 1 sack, but his numbers for pressures and hurries are pretty crazy in that game.
I think you go back through the game, you look at 6 sacks, and man, we probably had another opportunity, maybe another 6 sacks, and then just constant pressure. And we knew that going into the game, it's just being relentless. And, Braylon's obviously a guy that can win one-on-one, and we try to keep him soloed up as much as we possibly could throughout the course of the game. And I think over the course of time, just, consistently getting the quarterback off his spot, making him move his feet, not giving him clean throwing windows. And I really felt like all of our guys did a great job with that up front. I thought, Jeremiah Martin was relentless, continued to pass rush right down to the last play. ZTF, same thing. Those guys just, they had a busy day of chasing Ward around.
Javon Parker got his first career sack. He also played a career high snaps. What led into that, and what have you seen in his growth?
Well, we needed him. I mean, first of all, we needed him. I'm just in terms of some depth things, and then, I think it was one of those things where there was, schematically, we didn't have to be as concerned about some certain pieces of the game where we could let him just go out there and roll a little bit. And I think that's exciting in terms of development of young guys on the squad right now, and I think he's got a bright future for us.
How big did the reaction to Mike's interception feel? You guys went 3 and out on that very next drive and gave the offense the ball right back. How pivotal was that moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think our guys have been great about that the entire season. I mean, there's so much faith and trust. I mean, and obviously we've got great reason to believe in Mike and what he does, and that's not going to throw us off at all. It's just like, we talk about all the time in this pursuit of being playing great team football. You never know what situation you're going to be called onto the field or under what circumstances, and it's your job to go out there and do your thing. And I think our guys they've never blinked when it's come to those situations throughout the course of the season.
MJLA, looks like you didn't make the trip. Expected back for the bowl game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Same thing with Hamuli, I think, wasn't there either?
I'll leave that one with Coach DeBoer.
Anything else for Coach? All right, let's bring up Coach.
Thanks, guys.
All right, good morning. 12 games, man, it flies by, but when you really think about everything that's happened, there's a lot of pieces to it. I think it wouldn't be to the date, but it would be the Monday after Thanksgiving, after the Apple Cup, where we got a chance to meet with this team a year ago, and it's crazy what's all transpired, just the way it all comes together. And it's just every day, the staff, pulling together, staying the course, the players doing the same, and, being 10-2, can't say would put a number on the record as far as number of wins that would make us feel good about the season, but certainly proud of the way the guys, kept battling. We were 4-2 at one time, and to rattle off 6 straight to end it, means a lot. We talked about the month of November, are the games you remember. Man, we're going to remember these. So pretty awesome month. Got the wins we needed and put ourselves in a spot to hopefully have a great bowl game.
Ryan just said he thought before the game that the offense could go off on the Cougar defense. Did you kind of have that same thought in the back of your head?
I just feel like every game we go into, there's a confidence that we have right now. It starts up front with our offensive line, and obviously Mike's the trigger man that just makes it all go, and our skill positions are as good as it gets. So I just think there's a confidence, and as long as everyone's in sync, and about the only thing I brought it up after the post game, about the only thing I was maybe a little nervous on both sides of the ball was just the week of practice with the sickness going around. I know Darren Nystrom, our head athletic trainer this morning, said, I go, give me a number, and he said we were over 50 guys who had some type of sickness and symptoms throughout the course of the week, and multiple days where we had 10 guys at least missing practice. And so putting it all together, I think there was a time or two where you kind of saw that come through with poor execution, probably just a couple of errors maybe on defense and things like that. But for the most part, it came to Friday, and I think in particular of AC and Jackson Kirkland getting in front of the team, and there was no way that was going to be an excuse, and we would never even probably be bringing this up if we didn't end up on the right side of the game, because now it only sounds like sour grapes. But we battled, and those guys were not going to find any way to win and refuse to lose. And so that's something I'm pretty proud of, because that just shows the resiliency this team has and how far we've come from the middle of the year when maybe we couldn't have got through something like that, to where it just didn't feel where it needed to be, going into the game.
Did most of those guys just practice through it, or guys sitting out here?
There was guys that were definitely out. We had just some fever and stuff to where they had to be sent home. It seemed like it was pretty contagious what was going around, and so you're also hurting yourself, not just hurting other guys on your team, not just yourself by being out there. So again, had multiple days where we had 10 guys missing practice.
Kalen, your offense, last year's offense went from 20 points to almost 40, over 40, I think, this year. Doubled your average, yet Ryan Grubb is not a finalist for the Royals Award.
I know, I just saw that right before I walked up here. And no disrespect, right, to the other finalists, because those finalists obviously are very deserving. But man, what he's done for our program and what the offense looked like this year, for the most part, same guys, right? Your trigger man's different, but Ryan just instilled a lot of confidence in our offense from day one. Just the organization, the plan that's in place, making sure the staff's all just on the same page each and every day, to where the message is very clear, whether it's X and O oriented or just culture oriented within the offense. And man, he's built great relationships with these players, not just on offense, but across the board on defense as well. The impact he's made is certainly doesn't go unnoticed. And so he's a close friend too. When you go through it as many years as I have with him, just so happy for his success. And man, what a great year he put together for our team.
Could you give updates on Himuli, Ali, and Westover?
Westover was hurt in the game with a concussion, and I know that was already announced, and so I think he's doing better already, and we would expect him back for a bowl game. Who else?
Himuli and MJ Ali.
MJ was out because of sickness. So, and then Hamuli is not, he's indefinitely suspended just with violation of ICA code of conduct. So.
Did you see targeting on the hit on Westover?
Yeah, we will submit it. And I felt like, it's certainly one that, based on the rules, feels like, it certainly could be the case.
What do you think of the defensive call? I know you were not pleased at the time.
At the end of the game?
Correct. Yeah. They called it defensive delay of game, but can you explain what that was?
Yeah, there's, obviously I'm putting two and two together, right? They're a clap cadence team just like we are. So I'm assuming, based on what I heard from the officials and their explanation, is that they felt someone must have clapped. I'm just telling you, we're just trying to line up. They're in a frantic pace. They already have a great tempo to their offense, and now they're in, a really fast mode, and we're just trying to get lined up. And there was nothing that I can find on film. I asked our staff to look on the sideline. So just, the timing of it is what's really hard, because, it's a fourth down, and all of a sudden you're giving them free set of downs. So again, fortunately it didn't hurt us, but just knowing that we've never been called for that in all the years, at least the team that I've been head coach on, we've never been called for that. That's not something that we're trying to do. There are certainly teams, and we've had that done where it's intentional against you, but that's not how we operate. So just thought it was an interesting call at an interesting time.
Have you ever been warned about that?
No, not in the game. Yeah. No, not even warned ever. No, I don't think so.
Coach, you're that time of year for the coaching carousel, and I'm sure some of your guys are going to get some attention. How do you deal with that? Are you trying to keep them here, maybe go to Jen, ask for more money, or are you encouraging them to advance and see what's out there?
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, in the end, if it's a decision that makes a ton of sense and is a great opportunity, man, I'm going to be the first one to support these guys because, I mean, that's me too at one point, right? And you want these guys that have given so much, just like the players moving on to the NFL, right? When they give you everything they've got, you want what's best for them and their families. You just want to make sure it's not something where it's a move just to be named a head coach or just to be named a coordinator, and that it makes sense and that it's right. And so great communication through relationships that we have, I think, is where it starts. And certainly I know Jen is invested in you know, myself, obviously, and then also with the staff and trying to keep things in place and have the continuity be strong. And so, you know, I'm sure that there will be certainly opportunities that come to the staff at some point, and, you know, just work through it.
What Coach Grove's probably the name that's circulated the most when it comes to that. You touched on a couple of things, but what is it about him as a coordinator that separates from other people? Is it creativity, ingenuity? What do you think it is?
I think, again, going back to just original, he starts with a plan. It starts with high expectations. I think he's really grown it in the last, you know, as an offensive line coach, you know, you really become good at building relationships and bringing a group together tight. And I've always felt that, you know, when I was a coordinator and he was the offensive line coach, that, man, he was just exceptional at that, you know. So, you know, the relationship piece. And then I just think the last couple of years in particular, he's just really, I mean, you heard it. He wants to be the best offense coordinator in the country. And, you know, he's got a passion for just never being putting his guys in a bad spot. And, you know, that might be the play calling, that might be he and the quarterback, in this case, Mike, being on the same page, you know, just making sure that, hey, you know, get us out of this play or check to this. And I mean, there's a lot of just gotcha times during the course of the game where he's prepared, you know, Michael's prepared, and the whole staff's prepared and got their guys ready to pounce when we get the certain look. I mean, that first play of the third quarter, I mean, that play's been sitting on ice now for a couple weeks, you know, and I mean, you know, no holding back, like, let's go. And we talk so much about starting fast in the third quarter, and I mean, that was a huge play just to give us that momentum and get us, you know, that lead on top of the one that we had going in. So he just, I think the timeliness of play calling is, there's a feel to it, and it comes with reps. And he's now banking a lot of reps and has that feel. And when you have success and you kind of got that swagger as a play caller, not that you don't think, then you don't have any caution on, man, I can never make a wrong call, but you just really, man, you just want to do it even better the next time. And I think that's where he's at right now with calling offenses.
What did you see that made that play possible?
Just the right coverage. We've hit that play a number of times throughout the year, and you know, it could have worked last week against Colorado too. You know, you just hold on to it, and you know, just the right look versus the right play. And we got a lot of those type of plays, right? That we, you know, are the big hitters. You guys have seen it all year, you know, and that one in particular, we just felt good about with the person running it on our end versus the scheme and the personnel on their end. And you know, Mike's ability to make that throw doesn't go unnoticed either. You know, he put it right where it needed to be. But I mean, it's not like a trick play or anything. It's just, you know, it's one of those that we run. Now, it looks a lot like other plays we run too. So it's not like you can just be looking for that one only, you know, because something else is coming off of it. So.
I asked Ryan this too, but I'm curious, you know, you've had so much success with Mike this year, and we're in an era where the transfer portal quarterback, and they're going all over the place. what's the balance between, some programs may try to live that way over a course of years, but also wanting to continue to develop 3- and 4-year starters out of, out of high school?
At quarterback in particular?
Quarterback in particular.
Yeah, I think it is a fine line. I feel like there's great high school quarterbacks that you can't wait to build your program around, and bring the skill sets, the mindset that you really want. But you got to weigh every year with where you're at with your room and, what's best for your team. And if the right one is out there, you certainly got to look at it. It was, clearly a no-brainer to be seeking out Mike, knowing he was in the portal, him knowing the offense. I think you'd all agree now, looking back on it, really the only question was whether he would stay healthy or not. That was the wild card. That was the X factor. And the guys put a lot of work into making his body, stronger and had a full off season. And you can see him just grow as a leader through it all because he's had a full year to work with the football team. And so, you just got to balance that. Every year, I think it's different. Every scenario is different. So
you mentioned the athletic department investing in you, investing in the coaching staff. Is there ever a discussion about you have this much money to spend on your 10 assistant salaries, or is it just on a you hire who you want to hire, you figure out the money out?
Yeah, I think there is. There's a general kind of pool to work with as a starting point, but it is done on an individual basis, with each coach. And as there's a starting point, and then you kind of just work from there, especially based on the success that you have in that position coach's area or that side of the ball, just things like that. So, I'm really happy with the direction and the investment that Jen continues to make in our program, whether it be the coaches on the field or the critical staff that we have off the field, when it comes to recruiting, strength and conditioning, all those other areas.
Kalen, the conference got rid of the North and South divisions to try and get the 2 best teams in the conference playing for the Pac-12 title game. Do you feel the 2 best teams are playing Friday?
It's hard because there's a tie, right, for the second spot, and we're in that tie. And so, we all agreed on it before the season. Those are the rules, and that's what you got to go with. And we'd certainly love to see if we got that type of team. We feel we do, certainly. But we had our chances throughout the course of the year, right? And there's 2 games that are in the loss column, and we needed to have one of those not be the case for us to get what we deserve. And it is what it is, and we just got to learn from it and make sure we don't make ourselves vulnerable like that down the road.
Coach, Jackson Kirkland's been here a long time, and he's played every position on the offensive line except for center. When I talked to him after the Oregon game and after the Washington State game, he really seemed to take those more personally than anybody else I talked to. How did things change when Jackson came back?
Yeah, it's so fun seeing just the reaction that he has after these few last games, and the 2 in particular that mean so much to him. I feel like, just that mindset that he has from day one is kind of spread throughout the offensive line. Seeing them have success without him was awesome because, it just, I think it still said a lot about just the way that the culture was in that room. But then when he came and joined us, and was back on the football field, I do think it went to another level, just because his practice habits are exceptional. He just, it's a 100%, full go, for him all the time. He's just exactly what you're looking for in an offensive lineman. And, having him at guard, I just feel like he was in there just really, keeping the pocket clean and just, shoving guys around. And, man, he's a force in there. And, the stats that we have offensively, I think, continue to get better and better because guys like him continue to improve. And, I think it starts with a mindset, and that's what Jackson, has. And I know his passion to have this program be going out on top when he was going out was a big deal to him. And we talked about that after the game the other night.
You made mention, Kalen, of it being 1 year since you arrived here. Did you do some reflecting today as you were coming in? And if so, what stood out about?
No, I think yesterday, we got a chance. Really, it's your first day kind of where it's a little more low key. There's always work going on, but since we really started camp, it's really the first day for the staff to be away from the office for the most part. And so being around the family and having them all there at the game was really special to me. First away game that they were able to be at. Just a lot happens, and that's happening not just with me and my family, but a lot of other of our staff as well. It's going 100 miles an hour, and there's so many decisions that everyone is making, and you're doing it from a career standpoint, you're doing it from the team standpoint, you're doing it from your family and trying to do what's best for them. And we just got the right people here, that I'm surrounded by that continue to give everything they got. So I think that's the reflection. Is there's a lot of decisions and a lot of pieces that have to fall into place, and up to this point, a lot of those have been really successful decisions.
You mentioned last week that you'd be pulling for Oregon against Oregon State because we all got to be selfish here, right? I think those are your words. Is it safe to say that you're pulling for USC right now, given the consensus?
We've become very selfish the last few weeks, haven't we?
Given the consensus is if the Trojans win, you're probably going to Pasadena.
I guess I look at it this way, right? We did Utah a favor already, right? So we did them a favor, and now, I don't feel like I owe anything to them anymore. But, I think that, selfish-wise, they're certainly a team we're rooting for,
What did it mean to go to that game? That's probably got more prestige to it than any other bowl.
Yeah, I think it'd be really incredible here coming back year one after 4-8 being 10-2 and having a chance to play in the Rose Bowl, which is so the dream of so many guys, especially that live on the West Coast. So playing on not New Year's Day, but on January 2nd would be certainly a highlight. In these guys' lives forever.
Near the end of the game, I ran into an old tight end, Bill Ames, who I covered 30 years ago. And I said, "What are you doing here?" He goes, "I'm a road dog."
He's a road dog.
And I've never heard of this. Is this something that was a carryover, or did you institute it where he went out for the coin flip and was brought in for something?
Yeah, every game we have a road dog, and that's been something that's been carried over, when especially you go to other cities and you might be close to maybe where one of the alumni live, and had a great conversation with Bill. He was over here earlier this spring as well, or earlier this year as well, and just fun seeing those alumni enjoy the experience. Every game we've had different guys at different places. Dean Kirkland went out with Jackson, at the Oregon game, and that was a special one. That was being close to home.
So did you institute that, or did the program have it before?
There was pretty much that in place in the past. Yep.
Coach, have you noticed any difference in reception and recruiting with the 10 wins?
I think as the season's gone on, it's been building, and the confidence in who we have in our list of commitments, just continues to be strong, and their excitement. You get a lot of text messages, right? Because it's mom, dad, and it's the prospect that's committed to you before and after the game, and then it's the alumni, and so it's just really fun seeing how fired up they are about the direction we're going. Because if you think about it, they committed to a 4-8 team, and now they see what the potential is that exists in this program. They put a lot of trust and faith in us as a coaching staff and the vision that we have here in the program, along with what the tradition is of this program as well, and the support we have. So we're excited about signing day coming up here very soon.
One position in that class where there's maybe some uncertainty, obviously, is quarterback. How set are you on wanting to sign a high school quarterback in this class, regardless of how maybe some of those things shake out?
Yeah, I mean, ideally you sign one every year, and obviously there's some gaps in our program. We only have 3 on scholarship right now. I mean, going back many years, you'd like to recruit one every year. Maybe you lose one, so you got for sure 4. But ideally, you'd like to have a scholarship quarterback. Now, if it's not the right one, don't just take one to take one. The time of the portal certainly has evolved and changed the way you look at that. And so, we just got to play it day by day and see kind of where it continues to go.
Just to follow up on that. So back in the day, it was almost imperative to get a quarterback, high school quarterback every year. Is it still as important now because of the portal? Has that kind of changed?
Yeah, I mean, I think the more reps and the more continuity you can have, whether it's your staff or your players, and the quarterback's almost an extension of your coaching staff. You look at what Mike's doing; he knew the system coming in. I just think that gets you off on the right foot from the beginning of the season when you have a guy who's not a stranger to the program and the offense. So it helps having a quarterback who's from within and come up through the years, and so I think it's still important to have a quarterback out of high school. Yeah.
And in terms of roster management with the portal, how different is it from 10 years ago? Like, do you sign your class and then you fill in, or do you plan on, how does that work?
Yeah, it's, and there's a reason why I'm here right now, right? I mean, this would normally be a contact period, and this is the first year in the recruiting calendar where it's dead. And so today through Thursday, it's a dead period with the full intention to where, coaching staffs across the country can spend their time talking to their players, knowing that a week from now the portal does open up, and that window, it does exist now. So we just want to really have these conversations, these talks, and be able to, hear what they have to say, but also have them hear what our vision is for them. And so I think to the second part of your question, again, it starts with the high school guys, and we have, a really solid group, and you fill in the gaps needed to improve your team, with a little bit more immediacy going into the next season. So, we'll be working on that once we see who enters the portal and have a chance to improve our roster.
Maybe that's what this week is for, but has anybody indicated to you that they won't be playing in the bowl game at this point?
No one has.
This is your first bowl game as a head coach?
It is actually, yeah. Yep.
What do you want this experience to be all about for the guys?
Yeah, I think there's different levels to it. The seniors, this is it. I always felt playing in a national championship game, when your last game, it's special. And I think that's what a bowl brings you, is when your last game is, and everything leading up to it. Sometimes it gets emotional for guys, but that's what it's all about. That's what this experience is, and that's our goal as coaches, to make this one of the most memorable experiences of these guys' lives. So you want it to be special for those seniors, and you continue to celebrate everything they've brought to the program, especially this year. And it's just added practices that can help our guys who need to continue to develop, grow. I think it's not just the practices, it's also the workouts, because in a normal year in a year like last year, these guys pretty much finished the season, and as much as there was volunteer lifts and so forth, there wasn't probably a lot getting done in the month of December, so.
Is there any guys that maybe have been out for a while that you may get back in time for the bowl game? Or is there any guys that, we may not know right now that won't be able to play in the bowl game? Any update on that? I
don't think there's anyone, I don't think there's many guys that would, or anyone that would be coming back yet that hasn't been playing. Or I don't think there'd be many guys or anyone that would come back that has been out. So.
Is there a path for Kawhi to return to the program at any point?
I don't think that we'd, probably something I want to discuss right now. We can discuss that when the season is completely over.
You coached Michael at Indiana. You believed in him. You've seen him go down with injuries every year before this. I don't think the country was too aware of him. And now he's leading the country in passing. We're seeing Penix for Heisman trending on Twitter right now. I mean, just to see that evolution, to see this all come to fruition, how cool is that for you?
I mean, the guy is just, he's special. He's a special player. We've all seen that. But, I mean, when you guys are interviewing him, you hear him deflect everything to his teammates, Coach Grubb, myself. It's anything but him. And that's certainly true. You don't do it without a supporting cast, but he is so humble, and he just really wanted this bad, and I think that's the competitive spirit he's had all along, and just wanting to. I don't think it's about proving people wrong. I think it's about, the thing I love is probably wanting to prove us right, for having him here. And I didn't feel like we were taking a chance, and knew that there was some really unorthodox injuries that happened along the way. And seeing him just thrive and in the moments that he's had, we're talking about game-winning drives. Just constantly the response after, something happens, whether it be to him or, they score, his response is just always just on point, and it's immediate. It's not like, a quarter later, he finally, made the throw. He's just so good in the moment, and he's always really had that. And seeing him really come out, and the guys believe in him. He gave us, I think, a lot of hope from day one, seeing his talent. And I think game one, when he came out, people kind of did a double take on what they were really seeing, whether it be his teammates or just the fans and you guys in general. Wow, okay, he is different. And, we saw that kind of take another level in the Michigan State game, where he just came out of the gates, slinging it all over the place. And in the big moments that have continued to happen, even in the losses, you saw him just continue to fight. And the belief in our team that we always had a chance existed because of, his ability to make plays and make throws and, put the offense on his shoulders and move us up and down the field.
What does it mean personally to get him healthy through 12 games?
What is it, what?
What does it mean for you personally to get him through 12 games healthy for the first time?
I think it's a tribute to his work ethic, and also just the plan and the constant work he's put in with Coach McKeefrey and the strength staff. Coach Grubb is very involved. You guys don't know this little known fact. Coach Grubb was the strength and conditioning coach of the year back in the USF days. So, Coach Grubb is very well versed in strength and conditioning, but that is true. That is true. So, he'll let Coach McKeefrey know about that every once in a while too, So, but I think it's just, in all seriousness, I think it's a tribute to a lot of people really being involved, and Mike just, staying the course and putting the work in. So,
what would your messaging be to him? You talk about your coaches, but for Michael, obviously he's had a phenomenal year. He has another year of eligibility if he wants it, but he's a fifth-year guy anyway. Have you talked to him about it already, or what will you talk with him about? What's your focus?
Yeah, I think the process, first of all, is just continuing to relay the information that we get on what could exist if he moves on, and also what could exist if he stays. As far as even like where it goes a year from now, whether it be because of the draft class and at quarterback or just in general. We just want to get him as much information as possible, and he knows that in the end, he's raised our level of our program, and because of that, we're going to be in a good space. But also, obviously him returning, gets us a head start on everything because we know what we have at QB, and I mean, as opposed to this last year where it's throughout the entire year, kind of like, hey, who's going to be the QB? You certainly know who your QB1 is going into next season, and that's a big deal in building your team and getting a great jump come January.
Do you really believe there's a chance he may come back?
I think there is. I just feel like he loves the game, and he loves college football. I think, you can always, in his mind, find where he's in areas where, where he finished off the season, starting the season at that level, just makes it that much better every year. And we got a lot of great pieces around him that are going to be back. And so there's a lot of optimism about what the offense could be, what our team could be. And, that's for Mike to decide. And there isn't, like, people are obviously reading into every word I say right now. There's nothing to where he's articulated or said anything that makes me feel strong about that. I just think that he hasn't decided, and has really tried to just focus on playing every game, and giving it his all. And now, kind of going through that process is what he'll be doing. And so we just want what's best for him, just like he wants that as well.
Looking back, that now that you're done with the two rivalry games, Oregon and Washington State, those 2 wins, how important were those 2 wins on moving this program forward, especially going into the offseason with recruiting?
Yeah, they're big from a rivalry standpoint, just recruiting, like you said, the impact of that, and making sure that you have kind of the stronghold of the state is key and critical, and then just the competitiveness of the recruiting between both us and Oregon, is a big deal as well. So. It gives us 10 wins. Both those were needed to get to that point as we kind of want to be one of the elite. This became kind of to the point where this could be one of the better years in program history. It's hard to win 10 games, and we've done that.
Was there a point that maybe you noticed a little bit of shift on attitudes towards Washington, and maybe eyes opened up a little bit more? Could you sense that at all on the recruiting trail?
Yeah, I think it was probably that time frame where we got to 7-8, and then beating Oregon. I just think that there were some eyes opening on how we were winning even from the beginning, and what we were doing, and how much fun it was to watch our football team. Offensively, I think it's been pretty well documented. I think defensively, even, sacks, getting home on the quarterback, and there's things that we continued to need to shore up as the season went along. But I think we're an exciting football team, and people noticed that.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.